Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make this wraparound bracelet. So this is one bracelet, but it looks like a nice little batch of bracelets. You can also make it cross itself in some cool patterns as well. So I'm going to show you how to make this, and then I also have a kit that I'll link in the description, and it'll give you all of the supplies you need for this bracelet, but then you don't have to go and buy all the different supplies. So let's get started on this tutorial. So first you'll need some thread. I just use all-purpose like sewing thread that you can get from the store for super cheap. And then you're gonna need whatever colors of seed beads you're going to be using. I'm going to go for a more fall color theme, so that's why I'm choosing the colors I am. But you can do whatever colors you want. You can make it themed for any occasion or make it just general, make it match your outfits, whatever you like. You're gonna need a good amount of beads, so especially if you're trying to mix them up, make sure you've got a good amount so that you can have good ratios as you're going. If you're going for the same style as me, you're gonna wanna make sure all the beads are the same size. If you don't care if they're the same size or you're doing that on purpose, then yeah, do that, that's awesome. But I'm gonna open this thread up. You're also gonna want a kit that looks kind of like this. It's just something that has key rings of the color of your choice and these little hook things of your choice. You also need scissors and optionally some jewelry glue. So where you're going to be using a beading needle as well, that is not necessary. I'll kind of start by showing you how to use it without a beading needle, and then I'll be using a beading needle if you'd like to, so you can copy that as well. But you're going to make this string twice as long as you want it. So it kind of depends on how many times you want your wraparound bracelet to wrap around. If you don't know yet, just make it super long, and then that way you can choose. I'm gonna make mine about 1.5 feet once it's tied in half, so that would be 3 feet in total of string, and then once we tie it in half it'll be longer, and that will wrap around about 4 times. You can kind of just base it off of wrapping the string around your wrist to see how long it would be for you. So now that I've cut that thread, we're going to do the first step, which is to separate those 2 threads that are folded in half. You're gonna put either the loop or the hook in there. I like to do the hook because it's easier to keep it together if you do the hook on this part and the ring on the other part, and I'll show you why that is in a little bit. This one is naturally tied knot, which is really strange, but that doesn't usually happen. Sometimes it will. If so, yeah, just pull it both strings apart to bring it to the top, but you don't need to tie a knot for that. You can if you want, but I don't usually. I just leave it hanging at the end. Then, still folded in half, we're going to start stringing the beads over both of these strings. So I'm just doing random patterns, but you can do them in a specific order if that's what you like. As you'll see, the beading needle makes it a lot easier to do, but again, not necessary. It's just slightly more convenient. It takes a little less effort to get it through all the beads. If you're doing a pattern, go for it. Pattern takes a lot more time for how long this bracelet is, but it'll look really cool. So let me show you now with a beading needle. Again, you don't need it because we got some beads on there, but I'm gonna put that on. So this is a beading needle. You can also use a normal threading needle, but beading needles are a lot easier to thread because they have a big opening on the middle. So because I'm using 2 pieces of thread, I like to use beading needles. It makes it easier. Then you just pull it down and you can string it over that. So let's get going and stringing our bracelet some more. Just string them all the way to the length that you want, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now that I've done it as long as I want to, I filled up almost the whole string, you can see. I took the beading needle off. If you're not using a beading needle, then great. Then you're gonna take those 2 strings that you strung all of them through, pull them apart like this. Don't pull super tight or else it'll mess up the bracelet, but just pull them apart. And then you're gonna take the key ring that we are using. You're gonna string one of the strings through the key ring, but not the other. And then you are going to tie a knot with these strings to each other. So you're gonna do that a few times and then pull tight on the last few knots, but not the first. And that way we secure this to the end. So if you want, you can add some super glue and let that dry and then cut these off, or you can just cut these off but leave a little bit of excess so that it doesn't fall apart. I'm gonna do the first because I love to put jewelry glue on all my projects. So I'm just putting a tiny bit of glue on the knot, and if it touches the metal or the beads, that's okay. Just make sure it's facing the direction you want it to dry in case it gets stuck. So I'm gonna let that sit there and dry, and then we'll finish it up. So now I have this whole thing. I'm gonna cut off the ends now that the super glue is dry. And we have our wraparound bracelet. It's finished. You can actually double use this as a necklace as well, but I am just going to wrap it around to show you kind of how that would work. So I like to just like hang it on my wrist, wrap it, and then you can either have someone help you hook it right here, or you can go through the motions. Sometimes I struggle, so I'll skip ahead. So here's the wraparound bracelet. You can adjust it to make it look like you want, if you want it to be like kind of crisscrossy or if you want it to be straight across, but it's kind of a fun little thing to do. Thank you for watching, and make sure to check out my kit that I'll be putting on Etsy. I'll link that below as well to make this so you don't have to buy all those supplies yourself. We'll see you later. Bye.